Hello everyone. How are you?
Good.
Uh, Good morning from Malaysia. Today I have another important guest from USA. She is Madam Ann Shin, and she has experience on fundraising, and she do a lot of work with different kind of startup. And today she's gonna share her experience and how she do this kind of works. And most importantly, we I know different startup and tech companies. They are following our World Talent Economy Forum. So you will learn many interesting information and methods from her. So hello, ma'am. How are you?
Good.
Okay.
So everybody hear me well?
Yeah. Yes. So, ma'am, can you please introduce yourself? Can you discuss about yourself, like how the your works and what about your organizations and how everything's moving right now
Yes.
in USA?
Yes. So I'm one of the founding partner of Ultra Fund Capital, based in Silicon Valley, California. Um, so and then that was in 2018 of November, and we started off investing in just blockchain and crypto asset projects. But as we expand or the market expand, and we started doing uh, co-invest with startup house and house of DAO, doing co-living spaces to accelerate startup companies. So we don't just focus on blockchain and crypto asset. Currently, we're open to different types, different genres, and however, we still focus on like co-investing and co-investing with other platforms, IEO, initial exchange offering platforms, or other uh, investment platforms. So our website is ultrafundvc.com, and you'll find out more about us.
Mhm. Okay, it's very interesting, but like example, in present situations, like now in very challenging situations. So I want to know what's the present condition in USA in COVID-19 era, and your area especially, and how it works right now.
Okay, the current condition of COVID-19, as you probably know, is U.S. has the highest rate of COVID-19 infection in the world, number one in the world. A lot of countries have opened up their borders, but not for Americans yet, because America has the highest COVID-19 cases. And so, in Silicon Valley, we've been hit. We're probably hit the hardest county, one of the hardest county in California, and California is probably hit the hardest, one of the hardest state in the United States. So we've been sheltered in place since March, and prior to that, I have three meetup groups: meetup.com/funded, meetup.com/gazillion fund, and meetup.com/superconnector. We do 2-3 events, matching, connecting investors with entrepreneurs, like 2-3 times a week, and other topics. And we have like pitch to investor events live. However, with the shelter in place since March, um, we pretty much have been in stealth mode, not too active, because everything's moved online. On moving online is just somehow not the same as being able to social network, meet others in person. Um, but it's picking up. Right now, we're still the shelter in place, the lockdown still hasn't been lifted. The ban still hasn't been lifted. So we still cannot do live events or attend live events, group
Mhm.
events. Everything has to
Okay.
be done online.
One thing in my mind, like let's say at present condition, there are a lot of economical challenges everywhere, even in Asia Pacific, in Europe or North America, even Africa, Middle East, everywhere. So in that situations, actually, many people actually losing their job, and now many people actually unemployed. as you work with different kind of startup and tech companies, what's the solutions for them? Do you have any creative solution or anything in your mind that what will happen next 2 3 years?
Um, well, everything is going to slowly but surely move online. During the COVID-19, uh, companies that actually has grown tremendously and made uh, tremendous growth financially and in terms of subscribers, members, profit is Amazon and Zoom. Zoom was unexpected, and Amazon also because all the meetings are now moved online, and all the consumer retail purchases being made online. So many and movies, entertainment is moved online. So like AMC Theater, that's a chain theater in California. I don't know about other states, has declared bankruptcy. And gym like Planet Fitness has declared bankruptcy. Hertz Car Rental has declared bankruptcy. But Amazon and Zoom has bloomed because their online business, and DoorDash, that's food delivery app, has also bloomed. So everything's going online. Even with fundraising, that's going to be the future. It's going to be done online versus right now the traditional ways people raise money from conventional VCs and angels. You arrange a face-to-face appointment and pitch to them one-on-one in person. Uh, and that has also always been difficult for entrepreneurs because the success rate has been like about 1%, and getting funding from conventional VCs. And so the success of raising seed round has been 1% from conventional VCs, and after you raise seed round, going from A round to B round, that's another 1%. So it keeps on getting diluted. Less and less people get companies survive and get funded. So that's why ICO became so popular back in 2016 and 2017. That's initial coin offering. Anybody can raise money. There was no regulation from any country. So it was wild, wild west. And then all of a sudden, SEC of America woke up. Wait a second. All these companies are raising money,
Mhm.
and they're not going through us. They're not applying for Reg A, Reg D, or anything like that. Anybody just go online and raise money. You just need a you just need a team and a blueprint and a timeline, and a pitch deck and a website. And people have raised 20 million, 21 million, 30 million. That's not unheard of. That was pretty common back in those days, Wild Wild West, and it lasted for about a year and a half until SEC woke up and started ordering cease and desist. So, for instance, like Big Connect went up to highest point was 400 something, and just one state, I believe was Texas, the United States, said you have to stop operation because you're illegal. Um, you're not compliant with any of the SEC regulations, therefore cease and desist. And boom, next day, the value went from 400 something to $30 something. Today it's like zero. So following BitConnect, many ICOs have been ordered cease and desist, and so investors never recover their money, even though you can probably apply through SEC, but I think it's a very tedious process. No one I've heard of so far has retract their investment from SEC. But ever since SEC put in their foot, ICO's gone. People lost too much money, but it's just an indicator that online crowdfunding is going to be the future for startup companies to raise money. So after ICO, did not fly, well, it flew, but then it collapsed because regulators started to come in. Then there's STO. STO became popular for some time. But STO is just like applying for IPO. You still had to get SEC Reg A, Reg D compliant approval. You still had to spend about 200K to hire attorney, to submit your application to SEC, and all the procedure, all the process. So STO is not any easier than going IPO. And people have realized that it's time consuming, it's very stringent, it's tough, and so it never really flew, probably for a year or so, and people realized it's just too costly and tedious. And then you have the IEO, initial exchange offering. That's each exchange promote it's like ICO on an exchange. So it's endorsed by the, not endorsed, but you can enlist your project, your cryptocurrency on a cryptocurrency exchange like Binance. Binance was the first one who started doing that. And then SEC started saying, oh, they're going to go after all the exchanges that's doing IEO. They're not complying with SEC. Da, 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 da. But Binance and others still doing it. They just won't accept American projects because they don't want to violate any SEC law. And then there's DAICO, that's spelled DAICO. That's like hybrid. That's something Ethereum founder Vitalik promotes. So it's like a decentralized ICO, but you do it still through like it's distributed automated ICO. So it's a combination of ICO and but investors are the board of directors. You don't have a corporate board of directors. Up to investors to determine the value of the cryptocurrency, of the token, even to the point of having the power to approve or disapprove the business from running. So the power is in the investors inside of in the hands of board of directors of the company.
Okay, one specific things. If we focus on the even from Asia Pacific, from Malaysia, we see even we can observe like startup those who are coming to the markets around 89% to 90% almost they fail because of lack of finance, lack of their proper strategy, and many more things. Even this COVID-19 situation, many startup actually struggle a lot, and they lose their business, and many startup maybe they cannot run. So, like, what do you think? How we can make things more successful? What's the solution you have, or how you think that how we can support this kind of startup and tech companies for make them more successful company?
Um, you mean specifically during COVID-19 or in general?
No, in general, even if we focus, even in COVID-19, I think it's a great problem for this startup.
Yeah. So if startups are selected by reputable, notorious accelerators, incubators like 500 startups or Y Combinator, they're pretty much guaranteed to succeed. And ultrafundvc.com, Ultrafund Capital, we're collaborating with UC Berkeley and Startup House, doing living like 1 week intensive living, go to market strategy accelerator. And so I mean, nothing is 100% guaranteed, but it's pretty much guaranteed that if you go through some reputable program, like with us, with Ultrafund Capital, because we collaborate with UC Berkeley, and to learn how to generate more revenue through go-to-market strategy. If a startup start generating revenue, it's much easier than it's just an idea. It's just a
Mhm.
concept. If you go to any VC with just a concept with an idea, yeah, the pre-dot-com period, you could probably do that. But after the dot-com collapse, VCs has become very smart. And then there was this blockchain crypto asset thing, and that has collapsed with the collapse of ICO when CC uh, stepped in. Um, so VCs are more and more and more and more cautious. If you just have a pitch deck or white paper, it's not going to fly. Even ICO, if you just have a white paper, it's not going to fly. Uh, you should, your startup company should already have a track record of generating revenues. It's
Mhm.
catch 22. I understand how you're going to generate revenue unless you raise money, unless you have money to do marketing. Um, yeah, it's just real investors have become more conservative nowadays because many have lost too much money through the dot-com and through the crypto asset. For instance, Pantera made like 2,500% return first quarter, and by first quarter 2018, 2 years later, they're negative 74%.
Mhm.
So venture capitalists has become very, very cautious. Um, I mean, so you can't really go wrong if the startup is already generating revenue. So I highly recommend that. Right now, we're in shelter in place, but I highly recommend startup companies looking to an accelerator program, incubator program first. Like we
Mhm.
offer one, and you can find all the information through ultrafundvc.com. And we
Mhm.
also pre shelter in place. We also have pitch to investor with barbecue once a month at Startup House in Atherton. That's 10 minutes away from Stanford. On like average, like 300 people would show up, and probably 2 dozen investors would show up. So you could apply to pitch to investors right there. So you're guaranteed to have investors' attention by attending our pitch to investor event.
Mm. Like how actually, let's say I live in Asia, like Asian companies on a startup, they can engage with your organizations, and most important thing is that in that pandemic situation, like what's your future plan, your organization future plan, how you work?
Uh, Even you're overseas, you're still welcome to attend our events, our 1 week intensive go-to-market strategy training, and start generating from zero to revenue generation. And because of COVID, we have to cancel it until further notice. And once it starts, we plan to do Zoom. So even if you can, it will be cheaper if you do online. But you miss out a lot of hands-on experience, like meet investors in person and visit campuses, visit companies. However, you can still do it through Zoom. It's cheaper, but you don't get the full experience. But you can still do it.
Mhm.
So I don't know if I can put up the link.
Mhm.
Um, okay.
You can share in our chat, and we definitely gonna share
Yeah.
these informations. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know how to do that in live comments unless I log in. I don't have the.
No problem. You can just send me in my messengers. I can share
Okay.
with our audience. No problem.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So you see a lot of events. Yeah, especially if the company is not generating revenue yet.
Hmm.
Uh, I highly recommend going to this pitch to investor events, as many of them as possible, and have a chance to appear before a group of investors.
Hmm. Okay. Another important thing, like example. as your organization working with too much of startup and many different things, so like what do you think, what will be the future of this industry? Because in COVID-19 situations, still we do not understand what will happen next few years for different kind of tech companies and other things. And another important thing is that, like, what's your advice and suggestions for this kind of tech companies?
Um, for this kind of tech companies, I believe giving the power right now, it's like VCs and angel investors, just such enclosed, concentrated, small group of elites investors. So small, like it's hard to approach them unless you have a hot introduction.
Mhm.
And that's why I recommend going to all this Silicon Valley pitch to investor events. But if you're overseas, um, like for you can submit your project to us. You can go to each venture capitalist website, and they do have a submit project section. Most of them do. And if you're overseas, you can do it that way. But nothing compares to a hot introduction.
Mhm. Mhm.
And because of COVID-19, many companies start doing crowdfunding route.
Mhm.
And that's our next step with my venture capital fund, ultrafundvc.com, Ultrafund Capital, is to enable crowdfunding through fiat currency, regular security offering, and cryptocurrency offering, IEO, both, enabling both. And no one has achieved that yet. That's our next step. So right now we're in touch with some companies and trying to collaborate because again, internet, anything internet, this internet is going to be future. Internet shopping is the future. Internet conference call is the future. Like right now, Facebook allow their employee to work from home. They never have to go into office again.
Mhm.
So the real estate in Silicon Valley is impacted because people move out of California. And
Mhm.
that's very symbolic of a trend. People are moving away from physical settings, office, physical face-to-face meeting to online meeting to online fundraising to crowdfunding and all that. And
Mhm.
so there's no through crowdfunding there's no geographic limitation.
Mhm. Okay, okay. This is interesting thing. But example, when the economy move, manufacturing also a very important role. Let's say China, they do a lot of manufacturing. And what do you think? What will happen in this industry if we
To,
if we
to
if we work?
manufacturing.
Yes.
Um, yeah, manufacturing. I mean, China is a different game. Their
Oh.
manufacturing, especially if it's related to infrastructure, the government funds them.
Mhm.
Versus capitalist countries like United States, is you pretty much had to get private money, private raise.
Mhm.
Um, there are some programs like NASA has their own venture capital. If your manufacturing product aligns with NASA or Intel or Cisco, those companies, they do have their own venture capital investment division.
Mhm.
But your product, your R&D product, your has to align with what they need. It has to be very niche and very specific
Mhm.
for the manufacturing. So if you're in the US, if you're in the manufacturing industry, you should try to raise money with companies, corporations that align with your product. But in China, they have all sorts of government funded incubators. If you
Mhm.
qualify, the government just gives you money.
Mhm. And as you're discussing about the China, so and US market as well, how do you think about the China and US relationship in this pandemic situation, and what will be the future?
Uh, China has been testing the water. I don't know, they like cross the border, trying to um, like stir up something with India and South
Yes.
China Sea, and they're just testing the water right now. U.S. with hit the hardest with the pandemic and loss of jobs due to the pandemic, unemployment rate, and um, and the riots and everything. Uh, so the economy, people in general think it's weakened, even though the stock market acts differently, and that's pretty abnormal.
Mhm.
Because we're supposedly in first curve. There's supposed to be recession, but the stock market is going up, 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 up. That's pretty abnormal. And right now, it's just so unpredictable. Everybody's testing the water. China and U.S. During with the pandemic thing are pointing finger at each other. China and U.S. are not in very good term. Um, China and Europe and India are not in very good term right now. U.S. is not in good term with China and some other countries. And yeah, with the pandemic, post pandemic, and China is trying to come up with its own digital currency in the meantime,
Mhm.
and U.S. is lagging behind because of all the regulations, and it's actually SEC and all these regulations actually pulling the leg of United States. So in terms of blockchain and digital currency, China is going to be ahead of the US
Mhm.
because it's a national centralized digital currency that they're going to distribute, come out
Mhm.
with. While US is too busy dealing with their own internal problems, China is already creating their centralized digital currency. So unless the US loosen up on the regulation, um, China is going to be ahead in the game of future currency, digital currency market. Because of the currency, they're going to they can dominate the market, and blockchain and AI, artificial intelligence,
Mhm.
and because you know it's communist regime is more efficient in the sense that you only have one voice, one government. The U.S. has too many voices, so um, the conflict between U.S. and China, we don't know who's going to be the winner at the end. It's very hard to say. If we know, then we will all move to one place and we will all be billionaire because it's so unpredictable. Not even the president himself, you know, uh,
Mhm.
whether it be Donald Trump or Xi Jinping of China, they don't know. There's a Chinese parable, Lucy say so, the, where the dead deer, where he's going to end up, whose hand he's going to end up. We don't know yet.
Mhm. Like ma'am, as you are working with different kind of startup, like do you have any specific projects with this cryptocurrency or this kind of things? Like, what do you think about these things, and what's the futures, and how should we know which one is good?
Oh, how should you know which one's good?
Yes.
Well, you have to look at these companies also through the same lens as venture capital, conventional venture capitalists. The team, if they have a track record of executing the project, if they had track record of successful exits, the team, the market size, the concept, and preferably if they're generating revenue already,
Mhm.
and if they're really serious. I mean, if a project can make it to say Binance IEO platform, they're pretty much guaranteed to succeed. Because to be on their platform, it costs you like 100K to 200K, and the Binance platform doesn't accept just anybody, so they're already pre-screened. So to if a project has already been pre-screened by some reputable exchange, then you're pretty safe. Or they already have a reputable investor already invested in them. Like if Peter Thiel already invested in them, something like that. And yeah, looking at their LinkedIn profile to see if the team's serious, if they're real, and to see if they're solving a real world problem, if there is a really great need for this. If you wake up the next morning, is this something you go to first? So same lenses of conventional venture capitalists look like this.
Okay, ma'am, one specific things, let's say now actually healthcare is a major challenges for many countries, many countries. So, do you have any kind of tech startup or any kind of startup those who working very well for giving solution for healthcare system? I know many developing nations from South Asia, from Asia Pacific, they are struggling a lot with their healthcare system. So, how actually your organizations can play a role or for healthcare system, or what type of startup that they are working on in that industry?
Um, we don't particularly focus on healthcare, but if we do come across a good healthcare company, we definitely look at it. But healthcare is, especially for COVID, is so touchy. Usually, like we're early stage investor, uh, usually those companies that's really developing heavy duty, like hardcore COVID-19 solution, vaccination or medicine, they're already like round C, round D, when they're not even raising money anymore.
Mhm.
They're notorious biotech companies like Genentech already. They're already funded by Bill Gates, couple billion. They already received. Most of those companies or Gilead, they're not raising money. They're not looking for money. They're already in the development stage.
Mhm.
They're already established. They're already succeeded with prior drugs, medications. It's I would say realistically, investor would be very, very hesitant to invest in a fresh startup going to this area who doesn't have a proven track record, doesn't have a proven success in the past of the, unless executive team members like um, form their own company. But then that's unlikely because they all signed probably NCND with their company they worked for. So, healthcare to solve the COVID-19 issue, usually they're not startup companies doing that. They're companies
Okay,
that's established.
okay. One specific things, you are woman and you are successful with your projects and everything. So how actually you face different kind of challenges, because in world talent economy forums we trying to introduce some of the interesting story from women, and they are also in the present arena, they are also contributing a lot. So how you want to share your experience, how you want to share your journey with us?
Yeah, in the United States, there are only 9% venture capitalists are women.
Mhm.
Only 9%.
Mhm.
And especially this minority, that's even less. And the journey is, I would say, don't work for anybody if you're a woman and
Yes, yes.
minority, because it already puts you at disadvantage. Do your own thing, be your own boss, take things into your own hand, and find a niche market. and not just survive but thrive, and really focus. And you have a good concept, you have a good idea, really focus on it. And because if you're entrepreneur, uh, if your product is good, it's good, okay, and they're not gonna say, oh, you're female or you're male. If it's good, it's good. It doesn't matter you're male or female. That's when actually it's to our advantage as an entrepreneur. Versus actually, I find it easier to be an entrepreneur as a female uh, than to be an employee of big corporation, or to become an executive member of big corporation. You have to climb the ladder, and it may take forever or never happen. But if you take things into your own hand, you decide how much time you want to spend. You decide when, how persistent you want to be. You decide how far you want to go. You decide if you ever want to quit. You're make your own decision. You're 100% responsible for yourself. So you cannot be discriminated in that way, because if people need your product, they don't care who you are. They're gonna buy it from you. They're gonna subscribe from you. They're gonna need you. They're gonna ask for your advice. If you can't offer the value that people need.
Okay, this is very interesting. And like, as you are developing your own organizations and you are taking a lot of responsibilities, what's your winning strategy?
What?
What's your winning strategy? How you win too much of jobs and how
Winning
you,
strategy
yes,
for myself or for
for
entrepreneurs? Other
for yourself, yes.
winning strategy. Winning strategy is just to smell the market
Hmm.
before everyone else step in. So winning strategy is you have to read a lot. You have to do a lot of research. You have to read a lot of books. You have to have a sense of the market before everyone else does. When everyone else goes into a certain market, you're already too late. When you see like Yahoo Finance article saying invest in this stock or invest in that stock, you're already too late because everyone else is doing that already. So you have to go to research like what's up and coming, what are people's need, what is up and coming. Like um, for instance, right now, why digital currency is going to be the future. It's because we're becoming a cashless society, especially with the pandemic. Um, we go to stores, we go to restaurants, they don't accept cash, only credit card, but still credit card is contact. So in the future, okay, so if someone's working on an app where there's no contact at all, you just go boom, just flash the app, boom, uh, everything's all paid for. That's the future. You just have to. The winning strategy is when you wake up in the morning, ask yourself, what do I really need? What you really need is what everyone else needs. Before anybody gets in the market, develops it, uh, you should be the first person to get in the market, and be really persistent, and no man's island alone. And winning strategies to find very good partners, reliable, trustworthy, with both the talent that you're looking for and trustworthiness. So winning strategy is to um, network a lot, attend our events, attend pitching investing events, meet other investors, meet other potential co-founders. Go, it's all a number game. The more people you meet, the more likely you're able to meet the right co-founder. So
Mhm.
that's my winning strategy. Go out and study, do your research.
Mhm. Okay, this is very interesting things you have, and like when example a market, let's say you now live in USA. On the other hand, now Asia markets they are moving
Yeah.
very fast. So how we can make a proper bridging, proper like in between USA and Asia markets, and how we can work
British.
together. Yes, yes. How we can
Um,
do. Yes.
Pre-pandemic, uh, Silicon Valley is still the center of startup companies in the world. Still has the highest rate of investment. Still has the most number of venture capitalists. It's still number one. But with pandemic, with startup house, they have 13 co-living spaces in Silicon Valley. They still get 100% occupancy. So the way to bridge is, if you can come for even just a week to our incubator program or any incubator programs, still come for a week. Just um, Chinese people have a saying, 见面三分情, okay?
Mhm.
When you're face to face in person, uh, the the rapport you develop is different from Zoom, from online, from phone call. It's just different than face to face meeting. You develop rapport. So to bridge, right now we can't travel elsewhere, especially for Americans, but other people come from all over the world to Silicon Valley. And if you can come to Silicon Valley, still come to Silicon Valley and try to meet investors here, try to raise some money here, try to get into the market here, get your name known here. Like Cognizant, that's an Indian company. They're probably not right now the number one IT service company in the United States. They developed their name here, and they're solely 100% Indian company. So get your foot here in this land first, and then start from there. Even for just 1 week,
Mhm. Mhm.
develop
Okay.
some rapport.
Yes. This is very nice advice, and now actually many governments they are also investing on a startup. I know they are also investing on a startup. So what's your advice for them? How they can choose the startup? What's the basic things they can do?
For governments,
Yes, yes.
um, for governments, like for instance, China, when they first started funding startup, it has to be related with infrastructure.
Mhm.
And I know Chilean government is big on funding startups, but your team has to be in Chile, and your company has to stay in Chile, and your money has to stay in Chile. But they give you the head start. For you just, I believe you stay there for 2 years. It depends on each government or their project they're willing to take. But I would say if you're trying to get government funding, it's mostly related with infrastructures, not social media related, not Facebook, not TikTok.
Mhm.
um, so my advice for governments still, focus on the infrastructure. And right now, I believe like AI and blockchain, they're the future, the two big thing of the future,
Mhm.
especially blockchain. Mm-hmm.
This is yes. This is very interesting. That yes, blockchain they playing many important role, but in terms of transparency and like find out there are too much of cryptocurrency, this that many thing actually working. Uh, but how we can utilize this kind what you are talking about, this blockchain and AI for the present situations, what your advice, and most important thing is that even in future, let's say from world talent economy forums, like if any tech startups or many things come, they want to make a like a corporate relationship with your company, what's the procedure, how it works?
with my company.
Yes, yes, yes.
Um, Again, like well, blockchain can be applied to any industry
Mhm,
because you cannot erase any data. Once the data is there, it's always there. So you
mhm,
can use it for supply chain, for food
mhm,
chain. Where did the food come from?
mhm,
Where the contamination come from? If there's any outbreak. And for instance, there's incident in China with vaccination that's contaminated. So the government started adapting blockchain technology, so everything is traceable. They can trace back where did the contamination come from, where did it start, where did this start, where did that start, and um, because it's once the data's in, you can never erase it, so it can be applied for healthcare
mhm,
system. Right now, say all my health records are with one hospital in the U.S. They're not interconnected. If I go to Thailand, I get sick. Okay, they have no information of me unless I tell them my past history. But anything can happen. So with blockchain, all the data are saved safely, cannot be erased, cannot be altered, and can be it's accessible everywhere in the world. There's no geography limitation, so it can be applied for healthcare. That's one big area, healthcare, and of course, decentralized cryptocurrency. That's how the whole blockchain Bitcoin started. It's built on blockchain technology, so it's agreement of different nodes. So um, supposedly it's not hackable. What's being hackable is through the exchanges, and it's private, and it's through consensus, so it can be applied to decentralized cryptocurrency, can be applied to healthcare, can be applied to self-driving car. They use blockchain technology as the software, so it can be applied to any area. And how my company, my venture capital fund integrates with it, it can be applied to crowdfunding. You can trace it, you can manage it, and no one can alter the information. The information is safe. So yes, it took many years for internet to be adopted, to be massively adopted. It'll take even longer for blockchain to be massively adopted. But it all starts with enterprise and corporation. Once enterprise and corporations start to adopt it, individuals start to adapt. And once, say, China comes up with its own, even though it's centralized cryptocurrency, even though it's centralized, but once people grasp the concept of cashless society and digital currency, there's going to be mass adoption. And once there's mass adoption of cryptocurrency, there'll be mass adoption of blockchain. And people realize, oh, okay, it doesn't just apply to cryptocurrency. I can use blockchain for my industry and this and that.
like now in present world there is a major challenges of supply chain. Let's say in South Asia, I'm trying to observe, even Asia Pacific, I try to observe that there is a major challenges of supply chains. And what your advice, like for different small countries, like how they can develop their supply chain procedures, and how actually different kind of technologies actually works to enhance the capacity of supply chain.
Um, Definitely blockchain would enhance the capacity, the scalability, and the versatility of supply chain.
Mhm.
So definitely, the blockchain. Blockchain is going to be the future of all the tracking, especially including supply chain and all that. So and blockchain language, I believe, if I'm not a technical person, but it's not that hard to pick up, and there like at least there are online courses to pick up on, blockchain and code development courses, certified courses there. So maybe that's a good start. Get a certificate
Mhm.
in blockchain language development.
Yes, this is very very informative sessions. So, beside that, like example, when a company trying to make a ecosystem, let's say big companies, I know many traditional companies, they have lot of finance, let's say from Bangladesh, from Indonesia, from Vietnam. So how, what's the benefit for them? Like when they integrated of too much of technologies, how we can create some awareness programs or for this kind of traditional organizations. Still, they're making too much of good money, but maybe they are too much of traditional. They cannot integrate it properly with modern technology. What's the benefit? What's the
Well,
yes?
the traditional way of doing it's limited by geography, right? But with new technology on the internet, online, blockchain, you can scale globally easily. There's no more integrate limitation of geography. So geography has been the biggest challenge, but with all that integration, there will no longer be geographic limitation, and also it's more secure and safe. People, even though um, I can't say you're in Malaysia,
Mhm.
before if you scam me, I can track you down.
Mhm.
But with blockchain, no data can be erased. I can track you down, track you, you know, just track back what went wrong. So yeah, and for foreign companies that want to go global or want to be integrated with you in getting the footstep in the U.S. company, um, yeah, start with being global.
Mhm.
Stop limiting yourself being localized. Start going global, and the only way to go global is you know do some online business. And very important, you know t- starting in the US with it's like the window to global. So form your company in the US and be SEC compliant. And once you're established your ground in the US, it's a window to the world. Then you
Mhm.
can go to the world easily.
Mhm.
Like
Another, yes, yes. Another important thing is that human resource development. So there are many people still they are not skilled enough, and they cannot develop their like knowledge and skills. So what's your advice? How from Asia Pacifics we can build up more skillful resources and more knowledgeable resources? What's your advice? How we can do worse? Let's say if we want to transform knowledge from Silicon Valley to Asia Pacifics, and what's your advice?
uh, to gain knowledge.
And
Uh,
skill. Most important thing is skill. There are many underskilled people, many underskilled people.
Many underskilled people. Yes. There are many online resources and education. You can get a certificate online, like
Mhm.
Salesforce, CRM. I believe they have online course. Coursera offer all kinds of certificate online courses, and Phoenix University. There's a lot of online universities in the United States that you can be a foreigner and enroll online as long as you get accepted. So you can apply for online vocational certificate school or 4-year university, and you can do do all sorts of things online nowadays. You don't have to even be here in person, especially with the pandemic. You don't have a choice nowadays. All the
Mhm.
students have to study online.
Mhm. But most important thing is focus. Like too much of things. How do I know that this one is good? This industry is good. There is a features like, and second things like I
Mhm.
think it's my experience when I work with different kind of developing nations. Like language also another important things like even like I think yes, online thing is okay, but someone or some places they have to monitor or they have to maintain the students. I can understand the local ecosystem is the best part that they can work on that. Beside that, like what your advice for Asian startup, specifically when the question that they have to raise their fund, how this startup company can integrate it more with a smart organization like you.
Uh, you just find out these venture capitalist firms and submit your project.
Mhm,
And again, hot introduction would be the best.
mhm, mhm,
But very few people have hot introductions, so you just have to submit your project to on the websites and go to each venture capital firm's website, see what kind of industry they invest in, and see if your industry aligns with it. Uh, just don't like submit something that's irrelevant. It's a turn
mhm,
off. First,
mhm,
study the venture capital firm, what they're specializing, and see if you align with them,
mhm,
and submit your project.
mhm. Oh, one thing, let's say you are an investor. So when you invest, what you invest on people or you invest on organizations. Actually, how you think.
Well, you first look at what is it,
Okay. Yes.
yeah, and then you look at the people
Mhm,
to see if they can execute. That's important. And I mean, if it's for instance, one of the founders, Bill Gates, yeah, if the project is toilets,
mhm,
even though toilet is not like usually not something investor investing, but oh, if Bill Gates is working on a toilet project, there must be something about toilet that's very going to make it very profitable, something that meet the needs. Okay, then I'll consider investing in toilet. And but if you're a nobody and your project is toilet, there's probably going to be a problem. But
mhm,
if you're nobody and your project is you can empower 6 billion people. How many people are embanked right now? Probably there are 2 billion people that are embanked. Oh, my project can empower 2 billion people that are embanked people. Yeah, okay. And then you look at the team.
mhm. Okay. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. This is very interesting things, and let's say like when you invest organization, you prefer more organization in USA or you prefer different uh, like different countries organizations.
There's no preference for my
Mhm,
company. For my company, there is absolutely no preference.
mhm. Okay. Okay. This is interesting. So, what's your advice at the present situation for different kind of tech companies? I know many tech companies now they are struggling with their finance, with their product developments, with their engineers. Many challenging things actually happening right now. So, what's your advice that they can follow right now?
Try to generate some revenue first.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Don't
Yes,
waste
yes.
too much time on fundraising. Try to generate some money first. If not, actually start with crowdfunding,
Mhm,
because if we can raise some money with crowdfunding, it proves that uh, it's it proves that there's a market need for your product or project.
mhm,
Because if the mass population majority and if the mass market is willing to, invest in a project through crowdfunding, that means, oh wow, people see there's a need, I need it. So if you can prove yourself through crowdfunding, then that's a very good start.
Okay. Like, what's your concluding remarks for World Talent Economy Forums? What's your advice?
For a concluding remark,
Yes, for today's session for World Talent Economy Forum, we love your contributions, and
uh-huh,
definitely in future we want to work with you. And even we are trying to bring in many brilliant people like you.
uh-huh.
So definitely in the futures, any of the discussions we can do any kind of conference or startup related things, any innovative idea you have, we try to implement together. Uh, so so
Yeah,
yes.
don't put majority of your time, don't waste too much of your time trying to raise money with
Mhm,
conventional venture capital. Try to focus more on crowdfunding,
mhm,
generate some income through either the market or through crowdfunding. So you prove to future venture capital for round A, round B, that there is a market for your product. You're able to generate money. You're able to raise money through crowdfunding. Uh, General public is willing to put money in there, either buy your product or invest in your product.
mhm. Okay, thank you, ma'am. This is actually very nice sessions for World Talent Economy Forum, and you join with us. We are really happy, and hopefully in the futures we can make a many interesting sessions. And any of your idea, any of your good things that we can collaborate, definitely we're gonna work on that. Thank you for your advice and suggestions and the very practical experience we get from you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Goodbye.
you. Yes, bye.